Okay, so let's make a drawing of some of these parts. Now, you're not going to have to work with it totally from scratch, okay? I will have a few of these documents floating around. And you can see it kind of gives you a general idea. You're going to need one of these. That's the one that is going to be right here on the wing, okay? And you're going to need one of these. That's going to be the one that's down here on the tail that's glued to the body, okay? You're going to need 2 or 4 of these. I have 2. These are the ones that are right here on the edge. Almost hard to see. They're so thin and small. Okay, I've got one right here. And, of course, one on the other side. And then you're going to need 4 to 6 of these. So those are these. Okay, I have 4 of them. All right, but you could put an additional ones in there if you desire. You're going to need 2 of these. Okay, these are going to be the long wing truss beams right here. And then you're going to need one of these, which is the body or the fuselage itself. All right? And then actually down here for the tail as well, you're going to need a couple of long boards here. Okay? Now, I will say I've got a whole bunch of these thin little sticks like this. Okay? And you're welcome to use these. There's some different sizes. Most of them are about 1.8 millimeters square. But you may want to check it. I chose some that are 1.8, and I'll get into that diagram of that. That gives it the integrity to hold the paper up, right, so it doesn't flop in the breeze. So that being said, let's go ahead and get started on this. Let me pause this ever so briefly. Hold on. I'm going to start by drawing this board right here. It's 400 millimeters by 3.3. But all I'm going to do right now is just do a 400 millimeter by 4. I'm sorry, it's 4 millimeters wide, 3.3 thick. Okay, a 400 by 4. We're going to need 2 of those ultimately. We only need to draw 1 because we're going to just copy it, but that's this board right here. Okay. So let me go ahead and get that set up on Onshape. So let's see. If we're going to draw this thing, I think I'm probably going to work on the right side. I certainly don't want to work top down. I could look at it front on, but I think it makes more sense to look at it on the right side. So I'm going to pull it on here. I'm going to take a sketch, and I'm going to click there, make a new sketch plane. Okay. So let's get started. Let's make this very first stick, and it's going to be a big one. So I'm just going to drag this out, and I said it needs to be 400 by about 4. Okay, and we'll come back to that. But that is going to be this piece right here. Okay, again, that's on the side, which means that we have to have cutouts for them, you know, at the end of our trusses. So you can see those. For example, here I need to cut these out. And these are going to be, because the wood is about an 1/8 inch thick, these are going to be about 3.3 millimeters. Okay, 3.3 millimeters up and then 4 millimeters wide. Okay, this overall piece, in this case, I've drawn mine and it was 8.52 millimeters. And I don't tell you the length because I kind of want you to figure it out or play with it. Let's say it's, I'll say that's 130, but you can choose something else. So I'm going to go with 130 by 10 as my sort of overall frame. So let's do that. Let's jump over here. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to draw another one of these rectangles, a corner rectangle. And I wanted my truss to fit into this space. And I said I want it to be about 130 by about 10. Okay, so my truss has to fit into that space. And these wing boards, I need to have a little notch in it right here for these long wing support boards. So let's go ahead and do that. And we know that what they are, they're 4 millimeters by 3.3. Okay, and we know that here because it's 4 millimeters wide and 3.3 millimeters thick. So let's do that. Let's put one of those supports. I'm going to zoom in here. And I'm going to put it, oh, I don't know, about right here. And I said it's 4 by 3.3. Okay? And then we're also going to need one back here on the tail. This one I'm going to put on the very back. And I'll do something like that. And it's 4 by 3.3. Okay. So now I've got my truss cuts right in here, okay, which match up to this and this. So now let's go ahead and put a little bit of a curve to it. So you saw before the aircraft wing, we want to have some sort of an airfoil on it, some sort of pattern that's going to give it a low pressure and a high pressure side, some sort of curve like this. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to choose my spline tool, and let's sort of zoom in a bit. I'm going to come down here to the bottom and I'm going to move it forward like this. I'm trying to, I don't really want to touch that because I can fix it, but I'd rather not. And then let's come up. Let's come down some. Let's move to the tail. And let's see, what do I want to do? I'm going to make it kind of curve off like that. Okay. Keep in mind I can rearrange it a little bit now. I can do this and I can say, well, you know, I can move this forward a little bit. And I can move it back. So here's my basic outline. Maybe I want to move that a little steeper. Something like that. And then maybe I'll pull this back, make a little steeper like that. Okay? And I think I'm going to cut away the rest of my sort of bits that I don't need right now. So I'm going to cut that, cut that, cut that, cut that. Get rid of this. And of course, this is going to be the hollow. Boom. Cut that out. Cut that. Cut that. And then down here, I'm going to cut that. And I have to do it twice because it was the original. There we go. Okay. So now I've got this basic piece kind of framed out. I'm changing something here. This one's rather shallow. And my new glider here, I think I'm going to make it a little more bull-nosed. Okay. So now I have to stick in some of these little reinforcement pieces. You know, again, I've got these long, thin boards stretching all the way across. Okay, these guys right here. And mine are 1.8 by 1.8. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go ahead, come right in here. I'm going to put one about in the middle. So I'm going to take this. I'm actually going to draw up above because I'm probably going to make a couple copies of it. So it's 1.8 by 1.8 millimeters. Okay. And then escape that. Let me copy it and paste it. And now I'm going to move it into position. I'm going to zoom in on that. And I can actually rotate it a little bit. Keep in mind, actually, if you pull your mouse out after it's been clicked, you have a lot more fine control. If you do it here, it's kind of gross and it snaps a lot. But if I pull my mouse away, I have a lot more control. All right, so I'm going to bring that down just a bit more. And I'm going to sign off on that. And then I'm going to do this again. Control C. I'm going to put one kind of up here on the nose. And I'm going to put that in here. And I'm going to rotate that down. And I'm going to put that in there. Maybe rotate it up a little bit. Like that. I think that's it. I'm only going to put two of them on there. That will give me some place for my paper to glue. Well, no, that's actually good. I'm going to do that. Okay, so I'm going to delete this guy. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to clean this up because I need this to be hollowed out. So I'm going to cut that. And I'm going to cut this. And then I need to cut these little bits off right here and right here. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the front. All right, so I'm going to cut that. Cut that. It distorts it a bit. I can clean that up. Right? And maybe what I'll want to do is kind of take this curve right here and kind of bring it back a little bit. There we go. Okay. So we are super close, right? We've got this first piece basically drawn out. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to hollow out the bottom. So I'm going to go over back here. I'm going to copy this, paste it, okay. If you look, you can actually, it doesn't matter because I'm going to have to change it, but you can actually kind of line it up. It usually snaps. Oh, it's not going to do it. Oh, there it goes. See how it gets that orange line? So now it's oriented itself to the drawing up above. All right, so we're going to say that's okay. And what I want to do now is I want to hollow out some of this extra weight. I don't want all this extra weight out here on the wings, okay? Because again, I want these things to be fairly small and lightweight. Okay, I don't need this extra piece down here that I need to glue it on. So I'm going to reduce the mass of this thing a bit. So let's do it. We'll take a spline tool, and I'm going to kind of cut it out a little artistically. Kind of do like that. Oh, I'm probably bring that down. That was actually a little too high, but I can do that. And I'm going to give it a little structural integrity here. And let's put another one there. All right. I don't like the way this got so thin here. I'm going to try to rearrange that just a little bit. And then I think this also could be thicker right there. And then maybe we can bring this up a bit. And then bring this out a bit. And smooth this out. And maybe bring this down. There we go. That looks pretty good. And now once again, we're going to trim this. All right. So now you can see I've got two pieces, all right, that are ready to go. And I've got 12 minutes. So I think what I'm going to do is essentially we've finished the wing. And I think I'm going to, construct it. So let's end this drawing. We'll come back to it. And we're going to click this. We're going to click this. And we're going to click this guy. And we're going to extrude it out 3.3 millimeters because that's the thickness of the wood. And voila. Now you can see I've got my wing pieces and my two struts. Okay. So I'm going to pause this right now. I'm going to draw a couple pieces for the tail on the next video, and then we're going to go ahead and assemble this, make an assembly, and put this whole airplane together. So let's end this one here, and I will see you again soon.